All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the third night of our summit. And we're just happy to be here. My name is Jordan DeGraff. If you haven't met me yet, I'm the president of CY Christ, the host organization for this conference. And CY Christ is a nonprofit or faith-based organization whose acronym stands for Christian Youth Combating Harassment, Rape, Incest, Slavery, and Intimate Terrorism. And our primary mission is to raise awareness of faith-based abuse, which is any type of abuse that takes place in a faith-based environment or by an individual who uses faith in the context of their abuse. We provide training to churches on their role in preventing and taking care of victims of faith-based abuse. And we also help them with different outreach activities that they can do, such as helping victims of human trafficking. And we also provide training on how churches can safeguard their finances from financial abuse. We also compile yearly reports on faith-based abuse using information that we gather from the FBI and HSI. And this report gives valuable insight into the manners and methods of abusers in faith-based settings. And for the past 2 years, we have been hosting summits for National Crime Rights Week. This is our first year hosting this conference in person, and we're glad that you could join us, even though we're very small at this point. Tonight, we're going to be learning about crime that is heavily affecting our community, a crisis that not only affects the Albuquerque area, but is affecting our entire nation. You'll be hearing from experts from the DEA on how the fentanyl and opioid crisis is affecting our communities and what we can do to help prevent further deaths and destruction as a result of that. We're also going to be hearing from 2 mothers who've experienced the crisis firsthand and their experience. And hopefully we can provide resources for you if you are going through or experiencing a crisis similar to that. You might notice my interesting style of dress. That's because today is International Wear Denim Day. It's a day where people are encouraged to wear denim to raise awareness of the importance of giving survivors of sexual violence or any type of crime, just believing in their stories and supporting them. You can find out more by Googling that information or going to rain.org. And tomorrow night, the final night of our summit, you'll also be hearing from the Rape Crisis Center of Central New Mexico on their programs to help victims of sexual violence. But tonight, we're going to look at the fentanyl crisis. Then I'm going to turn it over to the DEA, and then after that, we'll hear from those 2 mothers. So thank you, everyone. You may begin.
You need me to stop at 6:30, or do you want me to go until 6:40?
Do you have time left? Up to you, Mr. Pagano.
Okay, I'll try to finish at 6:30 to get us back on track.
All right, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending. My name is Carlos Priano. I'm the Public Information Officer for the DEA's El Paso Division, which covers the whole state of New Mexico and 17 counties of West Texas. I want to thank you all for inviting me here today. So we're here to talk about the overdose/poisoning epidemic. We call them poisonings, and I'll go into that a little bit later. It's one of the greatest threats to the safety, health, and well-being in every community across America, not just Albuquerque. DEA is doing everything that it can to keep dangerous, deadly, illicit drugs out of our community, but we need your help. We need you to learn about the dangers of today's illicit drugs. And as we will discuss today, some of these illicit drugs are so lethal that experimenting with them just one time, could be potentially deadly. Every day we see news headlines from communities across the country, including Albuquerque and New Mexico, about someone lost to an illicit substance, primarily synthetic opioids made by drug cartels. Each of these headlines on your screen represents a human life lost, a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, an aunt, an uncle. In the past year, more than 107,000 Americans died from an illicit drug poisoning. That's about 293 people every day. According to the CDC, the majority of these deaths are from synthetic opioids like fentanyl. You'll see that in the black. And the rest, unfortunately, the majority are from psychostimulants, synthetic psychostimulants, primarily methamphetamine. So those two synthetics account for the majority of these poisonings. In 2022, I'll go back. In 2021, the DEA seized more illicit fentanyl than the previous 2 years combined. In the El Paso division, which covers the whole state of New Mexico and 17 counties of West Texas, in 2022, we seized more illicit fentanyl than the previous 5 years combined. More than 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, and 2017. So 2022, more than those previous 5 years combined. This is approximately 2 milligrams of illicit fentanyl. As you can see, it fits on the tip of a pencil. It's considered by many agencies the potentially lethal dose. Fentanyl, ladies and gentlemen, is 50 times more potent than heroin and is about 100 times more potent than morphine. The fentanyl driving this illicit fentanyl that's driving this epidemic isn't just sold in fake pills, as we're going to hear about today. Dealers are mixing illicit fentanyl with other illicit drugs like cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine to make their products go further, to increase their profits, and to drive addiction. In September of 2021, the DEA took the unusual step of issuing a public safety alert to warn the American public about the alarming increase in lethality and availability of fake fentanyl pills, fake pills that contain either illicit fentanyl or illicit methamphetamine. DEA, oh, looks like your Zoom is gonna end in 10 minutes, so I better hurry.
No.
All right.
DEA does not issue these public safety alerts often. As a matter of fact, prior to this 2021 alert, the last one issued was over 6 years ago, and it was to call attention to the dangers associated with illicit fentanyl when it was first emerging as a dangerous and deadly threat. Locally in El Paso County, we issued one during Memorial Day weekend when 11 people were rushed to hospitals in a period of 36 hours. Oh, I guess I gotta click on that little button. There we go. Oh, it kicked me out. Hold on. There we go. Most of the most common fake pills that are out there are made to look like prescription opioids like Oxycontin, Vicodin, Xanax, or stimulants like Adderall. These fake prescription pills are widely accessible and often sold on social media, e-commerce platforms, and of course on the street, making them available to anyone with a smartphone. Let me ask you, can you tell which of these pills are real and which ones are fake? Let's find out. How about this picture? One is a real Xanax made by a pharmaceutical company, and one is made by a drug cartel. The fact of the matter is, fake pills appear nearly identical to legitimate prescription medications. So how do we tell them apart? DEA's official stance is that the only safe pill to consume is one that is prescribed by a licensed physician or dentist, filled by a registered pharmacy, it has your name, and you take it as prescribed. Outside of that, it's not safe. Even if it's a pill your friend gives you for a headache or back pain, there's no way to tell whether it contains a legitimate medication or illicit fentanyl or illicit methamphetamine made by a cartel. Even if someone tells you it's an Oxycontin, it's a Vicodin, it's an Adderall, you cannot take that chance. Assume it's fake. Drug cartels are preying on our dependence on pills and will market these pills as legitimate medications when in actuality they don't contain a single active medication ingredient in the pill. And that's, the top one's the authentic, the bottom one is the fake. Medical grade fentanyl, there's a use for it, prescribed usually in hospital settings, hospice care, etc. It's made in a clean, controlled laboratory like this one with strict regulations, including by DEA. It's typically administered in micrograms in hospitals, nursing homes, under very strict supervision. But we aren't talking about medical grade fentanyl. We're talking about this illicit fentanyl made in places like jungles, deserts, warehouses, garages, apartments, etc. There's obviously no quality control in this operation. There's no telling how much illicit fentanyl is going to end up in one pill. And there's no regard for human life here. If it kills another 107,000 Americans, it's just the cost of doing business. DA and its law enforcement partners were seizing deadly fake pills at record rates. In 2021, we seized more than 20 million of these fake pills, which is more than, like I said, we seized in 2019 and 2020 combined. In 2022, which is last year, we seized 57.9 million fake pills. The number of DEA seized fake pills with fentanyl has jumped at a staggering increase. Fake pills have been seized by DEA in all 50 states. And if you don't think they're in your community, you're mistaken, unfortunately. A lot of people don't know we have laboratories in DEA. We have 8 or 9 regional laboratories throughout the country. When we seize these pills, we send them for laboratory analysis. Our laboratory testing indicates that 61%, or roughly 6 out of 10 pills that we seize that have fentanyl contain a potentially lethal dose of fentanyl, 2 milligrams or more. Illicit fentanyl is literally being added to other binding materials, mixed up, as you saw, clandestinely and pressed into pills. There's no telling if a pill has trace amounts of illicit fentanyl, a lethal dose, 2 milligrams, or twice the lethal dose. We've seen pills with twice the lethal dose. As we discussed earlier, the potentially lethal dose is 2 milligrams. Today, the average dose in pills tested at our DEA laboratories is 2.4 milligrams, which is over the lethal dose. That's up, way up from 1.6 milligrams below the lethal dose in 2018. Social media sites, popular with students, young adults, and adults for that matter, have become popular platforms for drug dealers who use the sites to sell illicit drugs. Drug dealers and those seeking the pills are using a whole different language, testing acronyms, emojis on their smartphones, banishing social media communication apps to communicate about selling and buying these pills. Being aware of suspicious text messages, social media messaging, suspicious Cash App posts or transactions, those need to spark an important conversation, a potentially life-saving conversation. You need to know that DEA is working in these social media platforms and with internet companies to provide them with information on how they can help eliminate drug trafficking in their platforms, but we can't rely on them. We got to start conversations about the dangers of these platforms with all our loved ones, especially the younger ones. Last year, DEA launched the One Pill Can Kill awareness campaign. Please help us spread the word. Help us share the dangers associated with these fake pills. Connect people with information and resources related to fake pills, illicit fentanyl, illicit methamphetamine, in an effort to drive down these deaths. Partner with local, state, federal law enforcement. Partner with faith-based organizations like the one you're partnering with. Partner with prevention and public health organizations to elevate the awareness of these dangerous and potentially deadly pills. 5 takeaways for you today. 1, we need you to encourage people to only use medications that are prescribed to them by a licensed medical provider and dispensed at a trusted pharmacy. Number 2, protect your medications from being diverted. Secure your prescription medications under a lockbox, preferably out of sight. Clean out your medicine cabinet at least twice a year. DEA has a national prescription drug take-back in April and October. Go to DEAtakeback.com to find out year-round locations near you. Number 3, one pill can kill. Please don't take this warning lightly. It only takes one fake pill with a lethal dose of illicit fentanyl to kill you. Number 4, remember the cartels are preying on the opioid epidemic and prescription drug misuse to flood our country with mass quantities of these fake pills. And finally, I want you to know that the men and women of the DEA are going to continue to target these dangerous cartels and individuals who are selling these pills in our communities and neighborhoods. And we're dedicated to reducing the drug-related violence that comes with it. But the best way to affect the supply is to reduce the demand. And one of the best ways to reduce the demand is through this type of education and awareness. If you scan this code, this QR code, it will take you right to DEA's online resources. One of the moms that's going to speak today has printed out some of these resources for you to take home as well. But we have way more. We encourage you to help start and continue this important conversation. It's never too early to talk to your loved ones about the dangers of taking a pill that was not prescribed by a doctor and dispensed at a registered licensed pharmacy. It really does take just one pill, one time, to end a beautiful life. This is my contact information. Please follow up with us if you want this additional information, or if you want us to give this presentation to another community group, or to a school, or to a place of employment, et cetera, we would be happy to do that. I want to thank you for helping DEA get the word out with the ultimate goal of keeping our communities safer and healthier. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Briano. Not sure why your time got cut short because we had upgraded the account. We'll look into that, but we appreciate it.
But I did it. I did it before it ran.
I'm impressed. Thank you. I'm now going to invite those mothers to come up. Lisa and Tanya, we appreciate you coming and your time. And Mr. Briano, thank you so much for your time.
I don't understand why it's doing that. Jordan, you're not going to do it.
So, with that being said, I do want to just say that there's so many parents that are struggling with the crisis that we're facing in the community. There are so many mothers, whether it's a child that they've lost, overdose of poisoning, or there's so many, it's both for it's an epidemic in our community, both the guns and the family. And our situation happened. But what I want to say is there's several members and there's several families that are sharing that there's several families that turned their community purpose on them. And it's been a really important process of community. As we heard from Carlos Fernando, it's about education and awareness. It's about educating the youth. It's about packaging and things like that. Six out of 10 parents are list in so very, very important to also as a parent, as just as a mother, as a parent, it's really important to have discussions with your kids. Be aware of your kids' behavior. Talk to them about the dangers. Also listen to the signs. Let them know what they're doing. And to right now, as I stated, there are several family members and working together to combat opioid crisis. In February of 2023, we went to Seattle the legislative conference, and we had several family members that helping people out of the loss of a child, or a child that was dealing with rehabilitation. And the key message of 5 points, and I'll finish my presentation with, and it's the voices of the families that we have here asked for, number one, to create laws that hold drug traffickers accountable. Number two, make fentanyl a priority in policy efforts to eliminate drugs off our streets. Number three, fund treatment for drug rehabilitation groups at all levels. Number four, build awareness to address this stigma and empower families to heal. And number five, increase education for youth and families. We start by trying to build a community. So, I will be in the council, we work with us every we've been doing this since 2009. Basically, what we have built is trying to get treatment, looking at what's hurting the world, and who the people are serving, and we the best way to while building this community, is in school, working with people that are serving people, building it wasn't something that was completely planned. We saw changes. We saw attitude changes, little signs. We saw things that just didn't seem to make sense. But because I was so busy working, and I feel like I'm going to say everything that was out there struggling and suffering, and I started seeing, and I started
physically penetrating, seeing a person change their life, the lights come on, to see that hope and that despair come back inside of them. Because when someone's using drugs, there really are dark times that you look at them and you can look right through them. Because there's no one in their eyes. I think that's a you can see the light comes back. And so I always look forward to see the light come in that spirit. Whatever you want to do, she stopped being I noticed that she wasn't doing as much with her child, but she just didn't seem as engaged. You noticed other things like the walls were always dim, the light switches were dim, because when he's fentanyl, it leaves a black residue. And so the black residue very much looks like somebody has makeup. And you see black on their face. And so you see it on the walls, the doors, towels, there's just different things. And so I would see that and I would think, why is she not makeup? She never did that. Why does she not have skin all over her face and her hair? But little did I know, it was because she was. I didn't learn what was going on until I got a call from the hospital that she had overdosed. It was lucky I begged her to get treatment. Begged, yelled, I bargained. I remember the time her parents told me to call. She would just keep me right after the people had to go back to college because she was on a scholarship. And I did all of the things that parents do, thinking that she would be rational. And even though everything was going to work, I wasn't even practicing what I was teaching her because I was so emotionally connected and driven and angry to the point of frustration and not my family, not my daughter. So it felt so since that time, my daughter continues to this day. She's also had another child. And I was there when she gave birth. And I was there when the baby still trying to find the solution. But now, the baby gets me. The baby gets me. But I don't give up hope. I know. I know. The way she chooses to do. I know that it is possible. And I know that it is possible. I know ourselves. It's so hard to be
Thank you both for those stories. We appreciate you sharing with us. We continue to spread the message. You said education is important. It's educate the community and families how we can help, how we can fight this crisis, bring healing to the person. With that, we will recognize the role that you both are doing. We have these kids in the world. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for being a part of this and the work that you're doing. And thank you for those who are joining us online. And still join us tomorrow in person at 6 p.m. at the Albuquerque Community Center. And we'll be wrapping up our conference tomorrow with the Great Crisis Center of Central Mexico. Give us a presentation on the services that they offer, what we can do to also fight the epidemic of sexual violence here in Mexico. So please come out, please join us on YouTube.